Recorded at Amplified Studio in downtown Des Moines, Give Grow is more than a podcast. It's a commitment to our community. Founded by Andy and Sarah Suzanen alongside the RIA Group, this initiative is dedicated to uplifting the organizations and individuals who work every day to make Central Iowa a better place for all. Welcome to the Give Grow podcast, where we share the stories of the nonprofits transforming lives in our community. Each organization is featured in 3 episodes, offering a deeper, more personal look at their impact. Through conversations with passionate staff, generous donors, and the very people whose lives have been changed by their work, our hope is simple: to connect, inspire, and strengthen the bonds that make our community thrive.
Established in 1925 by 3 visionary women, Elsa Newman, Gertrude Schloss, and Elizabeth Coles, Civic Music Association is a foundational piece of Des Moines history. Its mission is to engage, enrich, and educate the Central Iowa community through provocative, world-class musical performances by legends and rising stars. So welcome to the Give Grow DSM podcast. I'm your host, Siobhan Spain, and I'm excited for our new featured nonprofit. Civic Music Association's Executive Director, Ashley Sidon, is here with me today. Ashley has traveled the world touring as a soloist and a member of some of the world's leading ensembles, and has worked with some of today's leading musicians. She joined CMA in August of 2024. Welcome, Ashley. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So you landed in Iowa through Drake, is that right?
I did, yes.
So tell us a little bit about how that came to be and what that experience was like.
Well, I was really lucky to get the Drake job. I was living in Shanghai, China for a couple of years with my husband. And we'd moved there from, I grew up in Georgia, but did my schooling in Cincinnati at the Cincinnati Conservatory of Music. And after I finished my degrees, we had the opportunity to go out to Shanghai, and I got to teach for a couple of years at the Shanghai Conservatory of Music and the Shanghai American School, and just travel all over Asia. I'm a cellist, so I got to travel all over Asia and give performances and teach amazing students. And after a couple years, we decided it was time. We were ready to come back to the States. And there were 5 professorship jobs open in the whole country that year. And Drake was one of them. And I won that position. And I'd never been to Iowa before. And we love it in Des Moines. It's just such a great place to have a family. And so, I've been at Drake since 2006.
All right. Excellent. So then the position at Civic Music came open?
Yes, the position at Civic Music came open, and the exiting executive director reached out to me and said, you would be perfect for this position, you should apply. And I also run a nonprofit called the Zenith Chamber Music Festival that provides free concerts for 1 week. It's a very, very small organization, and something I started 12 years ago at Drake. And he saw what I was doing with that organization and connecting the community to music and free concerts and trying to elevate the community that way. And so he saw that work. He's like, you would be fantastic for this position. And I don't think I would have considered applying because I thought, I knew what I was doing in my life, and I think, okay, follow these steps. I got my doctorate. I'm going to teach cello and do concerts. But I applied for the position, and it's just an amazing organization, and I'm just so thankful to be here.
Oh, great. Well, that sounds like just kismet. I'm
Yes.
glad you're still in Des Moines as well. So that's exciting for all of us here. Thanks. And now CMA is in its 100th anniversary season.
Yes.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's amazing. And it's also had a successful capital campaign. What was the purpose of this campaign?
So this campaign, began as a $1 million capital campaign.
Okay.
And it was one of these situations where I took the job in August 2024, and oh, by the way, we're about to run a capital campaign, and here we go.
That's I was doing that calculation in my mind. I'm like, I wonder how that went.
It was such a steep learning curve, but honestly, it was the best way to get to know an organization and its patrons. I mean, I was thrust into the thick of it. Yeah. And I had to get out there and meet everyone and learn so much about the organization. And of course, looking back, I have all these. It was stressful, I will say that, but it was amazing. So it began as a $1 million campaign with the mission to obviously celebrate 100 years, but to invest into the future. And our plan was of the money raised, 25% would go towards programming for the 100th season, and 75% would go into an endowment to give us a nice...
Excellent.
Yeah.
So did Civic Music have an endowment at all before that?
Yes, we have several endowments, and some geared towards programming, some geared towards education. But this was supposed to be, one of something that would sustain us even further into the future.
Great.
And then we surpassed that $1 million goal within the first few months, and so then we set our sights on $2 million, and we reached that. So it was a very successful campaign.
Wow, that's great news. I love hearing that. You don't hear that very often as far as the timing of it,
exactly.
The quickness of it. So the co-chairs were Susan Voss and Virginia Lordson. I'm wondering, is there a particular aspect of the campaign that contributed to its success?
Wow. I think, there were a number of aspects. It helps that our organization is now 100 years old, so we had quite a history to draw upon. And, on paper, the campaign was a success because we surpassed our goal and we reached 2 million.
Right.
But there's so many more factors into that success. We not only brought in new patrons and younger patrons with the energy of the campaign, but I think one of the biggest successes is that we re-energized, revitalized older, there's a better way to say that, but past families that were actually founders. So from the Gertrude Schloss family, we got to work with some of her remaining relatives that are in town, as well as the Elsa Newman family. They were one of the big spearheaders with Babs Hine and Bruz Lynn and Scott and Denise Lynn. There's just such a cool aspect to bring in these family members who used to be members of Civic Music Association, but life got in the way, they aged or something, or kids got in the way, and they kind of fizzled away. But they came back this past year, and to be able to honor their family members who began this organization, the strong women back in 1925 who, women were just granted the permission to vote.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. So, women didn't have a whole lot of autonomy on what they were doing. And to be able to recognize that and celebrate that through their families, not only committing dollars towards the campaign, but helping
tell the story.
Tell the story, yes.
Remind the community why it was formed in the first place.
Absolutely.
That's great. It's a nice through line.
I do want to add that one other major factor of the success of the campaign was we had Deborah Peckham, who was a past board member and knew the whole history. She's really lived CMA, and she knows the families, and she helped connect the dots and bring these families together. So she was really phenomenal with helping us.
Excellent. Nice. Thanks for the insight. I always love to hear the secret sauce, so to speak, to people's campaigns. They're usually so unique to the organizations. So this statement on the CMA's website is pretty great. It says, "We believe music can have a very positive impact on children. Involvement with music, especially playing an instrument, has shown to improve socialization skills, school attendance, and academic achievement, and increase classroom engagement." So CMA has a very robust educational outreach program. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. And this is one of those aspects of CMA that so many people don't know about, and it's still really forefront of my mind as a new executive director to try to get this out into the community. But education is a key component of CMA. We have two different prongs of education. On the concert front, for every musician that we bring in, we require in the contract that international artist, touring artist, has to provide an educational component.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, we just brought in New York Voices in December, and they have this long-standing career, Grammy winners, and they did clinics at Valley High School, but we were able to bus in Roosevelt High School and Dallas Center Grimes High School choirs, plus the Valley High School choirs, to get to sing for this group. And so the students get the opportunity to learn from these masters, and then because of one of our educational endowments, these students get free tickets to the concerts.
Fantastic.
So they really, we're trying to break down barriers, provide access and all that to as many students as possible. And then the other aspect of our educational programming is we have the endowed Bellin String Quartet,
Mm-hmm.
and they go out into the community. They go into elementary schools mainly 10 times a year and provide a really cool outreach concert to kindergarten K through 5 students,
Mm-hmm.
and taking students from Mozart all the way through current Disney tunes. And they have this program perfected to a T, and they get the kids super involved, and they even have one winner who gets to come up and play the viola with the quartet. It's just the coolest thing to watch. So we really do target schools that have a higher population of free and reduced school lunch students.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have those 10 concerts during the academic year, and then during the summer we have the Bellin Summer Concert Series, often at the Salisbury House, but it's free concerts for all the community to enjoy, just to show up and hear some awesome chamber music.
Yeah, get a taste of it. That's fantastic. I love, having access to experts in the field at a young age can be pretty pivotal.
Absolutely.
In getting kids excited, because they're connecting the dots. Like, okay, I'm not just being forced to do this because I don't know why, to
Right.
this could actually be fun.
Yeah.
And you get to travel. You get to be among great people that are excited about music. Because even music that's been played over and over, to hear people's interpretation of it is can be a really unique experience.
100%.
Yeah. So what is on the horizon for CMA? How can people engage? So you have tickets, obviously. You're in the middle of your 100th season, so they can get on your website. And are the concerts usually at Cheslow?
They're often at Cheslow. Because we don't, you could say one of the struggles that CMA has is that we don't have our own brick and mortar venue, but I like to spin it as a positive in that we choose a venue that best features the artist that will be best for that concert. So for New York Voices, we were at the Stapleton Center at Valley High School because it's such a great, great auditorium. We've been at Hoyt Sherman for a number of concerts.
Mm-hmm.
We brought in Yo-Yo Ma to kick off our season opener in October of this year for our 100th season, and we were at the Civic Center because
large crowd.
Yo-Yo Ma.
Because Yo-Yo Ma. Yeah.
But one of the great things about our concerts is that we can provide this intimate atmosphere, and that's often at Cheslow because the acoustics are phenomenal, and really audience members can feel like they're up close and personal with the artist. So we have this lovely collaboration and partnership with Drake University, and that we offer educational components to the Drake students as well as free tickets to Drake students, and they allow us to use Cheslow.
That's great. That's the beauty of being in Des Moines is easy access to this really world-class programming.
100%.
What a treat. And I'm glad that you're manning the helm so we can see it thrive even more in years to come. So tell me, have you fundraised before in your past roles?
Only through through the Zenith Chamber Music Festival, I've fundraised, but that's such a smaller scale.
Okay.
When I started that festival at Drake, the Drake development team were the ones who were fundraising, and I was just the face and that type of thing. But I learned a lot from them, and they drew me in. And then when we branched out on our own a few years ago, I had to take the helm for that. And so in that aspect, yes. But never anything
before.
Yes, never anything like this.
Yeah.
And not before that. I was just a cellist.
Yeah, good. Which is, in and of itself, a big role, especially in the music and the tours that you've been on. So being in Des Moines, what do you think about our community and our appreciation of music?
I think it's phenomenal. We have such an engaged community here in Des Moines, and that's one of the. So I was raised in the Southeast, and then spent a lot of time in big cities, from big city of Cincinnati to huge city of Shanghai. So I didn't know what to think when I was coming to the Midwest, but the people here are interested in culture, they're interested in education, and they're aware of everything that's going on, it seems. They're not stuck in their one line of, well, we've always done it this way, so we're going to do it this way. And I think I found that that's one aspect I really love about being an executive director of a nonprofit is I love getting to know the people of the community and all the different ideas that people have and the different interests. It's just really exciting.
Great. That's nice to hear. It's encouraging to just have confirmation of the type of engaged folks we have.
Yeah.
And engaging the younger community is always a topic as well. Keeping them interested and into the fold of appreciating programming, but also supporting it as well. It's so key.
Right.
So let's go back a little bit and just kind of give a little education about the types of performances you offer. So can you kind of like give me some examples and what that terminology means?
Absolutely. So Civic Music began with offering purely classical programming. So we were offering recitals and solo voice or even small chamber orchestras. It began, these three women were noticing that they would have to drive to Minneapolis or Chicago to go see concerts. So why not bring these types of orchestras and small ensembles to Des Moines? So when you think of chamber music, the term actually means music of the house. So it began in the late 1700s, early 1800s, with composers and patrons trying to bring bigger ensembles into smaller scale venues. And today that means that string quartets, so four string instruments, or brass quintets and woodwind quintets, or voice and piano and that type of thing. So has been the main focus of Civic Music Association for the longest time. In the 80s, we introduced jazz to our programming.
Nice.
And then even more recently, we've introduced more world music and different type of programming. So one of the things that audience members can expect is great music.
Yeah.
And we're trying to not just be in a box of you are only going to hear a string quartet, but our season encompasses vocal jazz, instrumental classical. We had, last year we had the most famous female kora player. I mean, do you know what a kora is?
No.
I didn't before this concert either. So, one thing that I keep hearing as I'm talking to patrons is they don't know what to expect from our programming. They just know that they're going to love it. So they keep signing up for season tickets.
That's great. A little bit of element of surprise and exposing people to new experiences. Always fun.
Exactly. And one of my biggest goals is to create diversity in programming. I want to make sure that people of all backgrounds feel themselves represented on the stage. So not only diversity of performers, but diversity in type of ensembles, in periods of music and styles of music, and I want women composers, everything.
Tell me a little bit about the Lordson specific program that is part of your annual season. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. The Lordson Great Pianist Series, it began a few years ago, and then recently with this capital campaign, it now became its own endowed series because Virginia and Nix really obviously believe in the power of culture and music within our city. And one thing that I love about this, well, there's a lot of things I love about this series, but one thing I love is that Virginia in particular, she's a singer, she's a soprano, and she has a lot of great ideas about what pianists to bring in. And so I love the fact that I get to collaborate with a donor and a patron to help elevate a series that they're passionate about. And so she helps pick the pianists that we bring in every year, and she's already has ideas for like the next 3 years ahead of us. It's so exciting. And then something that is important to them, as well as obviously CMA, is to make sure that the pianist also has access to our audience members, and our audience has access to the pianist. So we have Emmanuel Axe, who's a phenomenal pianist and just received an award from Musical America in that he's the Artist of the Year for Musical America.
Excellent.
He's coming in February to give a concert, and Virginia's going to create an opportunity for patrons to get to talk with him after the concert, as well as he's going to do a Q&A session before the concert, so anyone can come to that.
Oh, great. Excellent. I love all the touch points, the possibilities of getting involved and having a really engaging experience. Tell me a little bit, some people might not know the function of an endowment. How does that work, if you don't mind?
So endowments are crucial to the success and the future of nonprofit organizations. The endowment helps sustain and build upon and really provide a foundation, groundwork, a buffer for the organization for the future, in that it sits in an account, and the organization is allowed to draw a certain percentage from it to use yearly. So let's say someone gives $1 million. That doesn't mean that we get to spend $1 million this year.
Right.
This means that it is going to be growing and sitting and being this buffer for us, and then every year we're allowed to draw 5% to apply towards our programming, and it really just helps make sure that we have a future.
Right. So that 5%, the idea is that is at or less than what the endowment brings in through investment return. Is that right? Yeah. So it always is staying that level. Thanks for explaining that. I think that's one thing that I want to do more on Give and Grow, is to dive into these particular ways of fundraising and open up that conversation for people that don't know all the ins and outs that it takes to run a nonprofit.
Yeah. And some donors with their endowments are very specific. We want it to be used for X, Y, and Z, like the Lordsons. It's to be used for bringing in top-notch pianists. And some donors just say, hey, I just want the health of the organization, and you do what you want. And we appreciate all of those, because it's nice to have direction from the donors that care. And then it's also nice to use it where it's needed.
So I could imagine your fundraising involves an endowment, those season ticket holders and ticket sales, grants, I would imagine, as well. Anything I'm missing?
And just general donations.
Yeah.
So a lot of people who donate from $50 up to $50,000. Their donations help sponsor artists. They help sponsor series, and grants help not only sponsor programming, but one thing I've noticed with grants and applying for grants is that, some are very general, kind of like endowments, and some are specific, and grants can help get the creative juices flowing. And you know what? This grant would be awesome to help create this type of outreach opportunity for the community. And
grants and funding is not just a one-way function.
Right.
It's two-way, and I love that you pointed that out. Like, it can really help spur some innovation and expansion of programming. Yeah,
exactly.
Excellent. Well, thank you for being here on Give and Grow. And for those who want to learn more, go to civicmusic.org. And to our listeners, thanks so much for listening in. You can find all our episodes at giveandgrowdsm.com.